is ABC News 4 at 5.
1 year ago today, Hurricane Irma tore through the East Coast and the Low Country. Now we prepare for Hurricane Florence. It's important to note, though, these are two totally different storms.
Up top, you can see the destruction of Irma. On the bottom is Hurricane Florence making its way right now to the East Coast.
And just moments ago, the latest hurricane track was released. We want to get right to Chief Meteorologist Dave Williams for the update and anything new that you may have detected in that release.
Yep, and what I like to see every 6 hours is that new update. So we got it at 5. It'll come in again approximately 11 o'clock tonight. And the changes that I've seen, not necessarily for the better. In fact, the winds have picked up to 140 miles an hour. The pressure has dropped back to 945 millibars, and that means this storm is strengthening as it pushes off to the west and northwest. So that motion, like to see that west-northwest. I would like to see more of a jog to the north, but we're going to watch it over time. Still not a huge storm like we saw with Irma and Matthew, but it is getting a little bigger as it had an eye wall replacement today. That means the center of the storm kind of collapsed and a new center has formed, and that's gotten a little bit stronger here as of 5 p.m. And that also helps to spread the storm out a little bit as far as the winds go. Moving off to the west-northwest at 17, and here you go. Not much has changed right here. We've been thinking for the entire time that a landfall would occur just off to our north. Still thinking the same thing. Here's landfall Friday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. As far as Futurecast shows here, that would be about the time, and it would be somewhere off to our north because notice the cone is right here. Obviously, if it were on the southern end of the cone, we would feel much more of the impacts, and that's a possibility. Then here's where the problem lies. It might not move inland a whole lot, and it might actually sink to the south down along the coast. So we could see some secondary impacts from the heavy rainfall. At this point, once again, it looks like we will be on the weaker side of the storm. The north side is the stronger side of the storm. That's what we're going to have to pay close attention to. But we are under a hurricane watch. That means we could see those tropical storm force winds coming within the next couple of days. And there you go. Pretty much all of Charleston, Berkeley, up into Georgetown and Horry County. That's where the hurricane watch is in effect. Now, there is a storm surge watch in effect as well, but I don't think the surge is going to be a huge issue here along the South Carolina coast, maybe up toward Horry County, but it's going to be a bigger deal up into North Carolina. As far as the rest of our weather, we've seen a couple showers and thunderstorms today. Another very summer-like day with the heat and the humidity, and that's going to continue again tomorrow. 74 degrees tomorrow, then on Wednesday 90, and tomorrow night 74. So tomorrow's going to be the day. You need to get everything ready to go because things could go downhill a little bit on Thursday and especially Friday headed toward the weekend. So get all of your necessary things taken care of tomorrow. And since the governor has issued that evacuation order, it's probably time to get out. We'll have more on Florence. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
This on-time traffic report is sponsored by Fred Anderson Toyota of Charleston.
We do have a disabled vehicle to tell you about, 526 eastbound there on the Wando Bridge. Also want to check out drive times along Interstate 26. Obviously, again, as we know, I-26 East has been reversed, so all traffic going westbound. So that's why that drive time saying 899 minutes. But if you are headed again from downtown to Somerville right now, we're looking at 21 minutes. So let's take a live look out on the roadways right now. This takes us to I-26 there near the Ashley Phosphate Road exit, and you can see got a little disorienting when you look at it at first. Now that those lanes are reversed, but again, all traffic heading westbound there near mile marker 209.
This is a very dangerous hurricane, and we do not want to gamble with a single life of a single South Carolinian.
Governor McMaster addressed the state again ahead of Hurricane Florence. His press conference this morning started just as lane reversals began.
Yeah, take a live look at I-26 eastbound from our Sky 4 view drone. Those lane reversals began around 11 o'clock, about an hour earlier than expected. You could see hardly a car on the road. The eastbound lanes reversed to flow traffic westbound from Charleston to Columbia.
The governor did lift the mandatory evacuations in 3 counties, Jasper, Beaufort, and Colleton. Colleton County did announce schools will stay closed, though, through Friday, and roughly 1 million people are still advised to get out.
Evacuations in Horry, Georgetown, Charleston, Dorchester, and Berkeley counties still in effect. However, some say they are not completely prepared for Florence despite the governor's warnings.
I've never been through a hurricane, so I want to see a little bit of what's going on, and then at the last minute I'll leave because I want to be safe. I haven't done any preparations. I have a lot of tips on what to do, but as preparations go, no, not at all.
If you are evacuating, know your evacuation zone. You can find this map on the South Carolina Emergency Management Division's website.
Well, part of the effort to make sure people can evacuate as quickly as possible includes reversing those lanes. Highway Patrol, other agencies working the interstate right now.
ABC News 4's Bill Burr live tonight near the interstate where a lot of people are taking advantage of it now. Bill?
Ashley, indeed, we are on I-26 near Aviation Avenue. As you can see, this is a pretty good view of the traffic coming out of the Charleston area. Now, this is what state and local authorities plan for as a hurricane threat approaches the low country. Police began blocking all eastbound entrances to Interstate 26 at around 5 o'clock this morning. The goal was to clear the highway in time for the lane reversal to begin. When the reversal started at 11 a.m., drivers who wanted to evacuate could easily enter the interstate and travel west to Columbia without interruption. Drivers used the east and westbound lanes. We spoke to a mother who needed to stay in town because of her job, but she dropped off her kids with a relative in Savannah, Georgia, so they could go to Jacksonville, Florida.
I'm not really that nervous because, from Jacksonville, so we've had plenty of hurricanes coming up from as a child, so I know what to do. We're already prepared with our water, gassed up food and everything, and I'm sending my kids with some food as well.
Crystal Jones tells us she's riding out the storm here at home. She's a state worker who's required to be on duty no matter what the weather conditions might bring. Highway Patrol tells me if you're traveling locally, use the true westbound lanes of Interstate 26. If you don't, you won't be able to leave the interstate until the Ridgeville exit. Now, late this afternoon, we heard from the Highway Patrol again, and they tweeted out from the Department of Public Safety that they have some concerns now of seeing some drivers that are heading west, but they're getting confused and maybe trying to turn around, and they're using the median of the interstate to go in the opposite directions. Of course, that's very, very dangerous because we have both lanes that are heading west towards Columbia. So that's one of the big concerns right now for the Highway Patrol. Working for you in North Charleston, Bill Burr, ABC News 4.
Bill, thank you. Some parts of the low country do need a little extra help to prepare for Florence. Our Ann Emerson visited a flood-prone community. She found what's being done right now to help the low-lying areas in North Charleston.
I'm in the Pepper Hill community in North Charleston, where homes have flooded before. But this time, leaders and residents hope they'll learn something from past storms as they get ready for possible high waters. North Charleston police were out delivering sandbags Tuesday, one house at a time in Pepper Hill. This low-lying neighborhood has flooded before, and there's no reason, officials say, to think it won't have problems with Florence.
We're big on community, and we want to help everybody get through the storm and prepare for it. We don't want anybody left out.
And neither do neighbors like Anthony Mitchell. He says he has no choice but to hunker down for the storm.
And I got 2 elderly people that lives here, and it's kind of hard to get them up and oxygen and being secure.
There are several other North Charleston communities at risk as well. A North Charleston Public Works crew was keeping one step ahead of Florence, unclogging storm drains in known problem areas.
Got with Public Works, weeks ago. They actually went around, looked at the drains in all the places in the city. But those particular areas are prone to real bad flooding.
Working for you, Ann Emerson, ABC News 4.
And thank you. If you live in North Charleston and do have questions or concerns, the city is urging you to give them a call. That number 843-740-2800. Again, 740-2800.
And don't forget, we are always working for you. Our meteorologists are tracking the storm around the clock. Download the ABC News 4 and First Warning weather app for the newest developments, as well as closings and cancellations.